All right, good morning, 8th graders. This is Mrs. Stempiar. I am so sorry that I could not be there today to share this lesson with you. However, you should be watching this with Miss Gardner and Miss Irby this morning, so say thank you very much to them. All right, the reason I wanted to go over this lesson with you is because I wanted to give you some really quick and easy TCAP tips. So I know I pounded this into your heads a lot last year, and I just wanted to review this. So let's talk only about the lead paragraph or your introductory paragraph when you are writing a 5-paragraph essay. It's pretty meaty. This is where a lot of important things regarding your essay comes from. So you have a lot of information and a lot of organization in this one paragraph. Now, there are two elements to a lead paragraph. They are not separate paragraphs. They are one paragraph. Your first element of your lead paragraph is your lead or your hook. Here's my suggestion to you. I have seen too many 8th graders get really upset and they spend 2 days on this. Pretty soon they have nothing down. 2 days have gone by and they don't know where they're going with their essay. They've wasted a lot of time because they're so stuck on this hook. Don't do that to yourself. Here's my suggestion and my TCAP tip to you. Please do this last. If you are like me, you're not really sure where your essay is going yet. You haven't organized it yet. You haven't told your readers or shared with your readers what you want to express yet. So how could you possibly hook them into your essay when you're not even sure where it's going yet? Nothing says you have to do this first, so please go ahead and do this last. That's okay to do. Leave it for last. Wait until your essay is written and then hook your readers into what you want to say. Alright, so now let's talk about the second element of your introductory paragraph, and that's your thesis statement. This is the meatiest statement and one of the most important statements in your essay. You do have to do this first because you need to know where your essay is going to head. Alright, so notice that your thesis statement, the graphic that I want you to help remember how to do this thesis statement is a triangle. There are 3 points to a triangle, and there are going to be 3 pieces of evidence you need to include within your thesis statement. So let's see how that works. So the first part of my thesis statement is going to be the topic and your opinion. So don't make this harder than it is. You're simply going to tell the readers or restate to the readers what the topic you're writing is about, and then your opinion on that topic. So let's see how that can work. So let's say my topic is going to be, I have to write an essay regarding school uniforms. What do I think of them? And whatever I think of them, I have to back that up with evidence. So that's why you have these 3 pieces of evidence in here. I'll show you how that works in a second, but let's focus only on this topic and opinion. So I don't want school uniforms. I don't think it's a good idea. However, I need to say this in an intelligent way that's going to convince my readers why we shouldn't have school uniforms. So here it is. Riverside should not, that's my opinion, implement school uniforms. I have both elements of my first part of the thesis statement, which is the topic and my opinion. School uniforms is the topic. Should not is my opinion. Very simple. Like I said, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Your topic and the opinion. Okay, so now that I have my topic and opinion down, that's great. However, I need to back up my opinion. I need to provide evidence for why I have the opinion that I have. There's a lot of people out there who think that people should have school uniforms, that it cuts down on bullying quite a bit. I need to tell those readers why we shouldn't have school uniforms still and convince them. Alright, so here's my first piece of evidence to back up my opinion why I think that students should not implement, why schools should not implement school uniforms. So my first piece of evidence includes students need to express themselves. That's highlighted in red. That's my evidence 1 for why I do not think we should have school uniforms. Alright, so I need 2 more pieces of evidence. Miss Irby and Miss Gardner is going to show you why I color-coded these the way that I did with a big poster that should be on the board. and show you how the thesis statement connects to the rest of your paragraphs. Your whole first paragraph is going to be about students needing to express themselves. So we usually or typically have at least 3 body paragraphs within a 5-paragraph essay. You have your introduction paragraph, your 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Our first body paragraph is going to be about students needing to express themselves and all of those details, why we feel that that's important, or why I think students should not have school uniforms. Alright, so let's go back and let's look at evidence 2. I need another piece of evidence or another body paragraph describing why I do not think we should have school uniforms. Alright, so here's my second piece of evidence to back up my opinion: students should not have uniforms. I just said that uniforms are expensive to maintain. That's my second piece of evidence, or going to be what my whole entire second body paragraph will be about: uniforms being expensive to maintain. Alright, so now I just need one more piece of evidence to back up my opinion that students should not have to wear that students should not have to wear uniforms. So that third piece of evidence, or my third body paragraph. Alright, so my final piece of evidence, I just listed that uniforms are really uncomfortable. So my entire thesis statement is done. Let's read it over. Riverside should not implement school uniforms because students need to express themselves, uniforms are expensive to maintain, and they're uncomfortable. So I have 3 pieces of evidence that I can write 3 more body paragraphs about. So let's take a look at the formatting of our thesis statement now, or how to write the thesis statement. Alright, so after I write about my topic and opinion, I'm going to write the word because. It's okay if because doesn't quite make sense in your thesis statement. You can change it around to make sense, but most of the time because does work out. I list what I'm writing about and the opinion I have, and then I just write because, and I begin to list my evidence. Riverside should not implement school uniforms because, and then I list my evidence. Let's go back and see how the evidence works out. So after I finish listing my first piece of evidence, I need to separate my next piece of evidence with a comma. Make sure that you do that. I list my next piece of evidence to back up my opinion with another comma, and don't forget to add that word "and" in there. Whenever you are listing more than 2 pieces of evidence, you have to include the word "and" to separate out that last piece of evidence you're writing "and." So Riverside should not implement school uniforms because students need to express themselves, uniforms are expensive to maintain, and they're uncomfortable. Alright, so the reason why the thesis statement is so important is because it tells your readers where your essay is heading. I know that my essay is going to be sticking to students needing to express themselves, uniforms being expensive to maintain, and also being uncomfortable. It's almost like the thesis statement is more for me to help keep me organized. I know that I have to stick to those 3 topics within my 5-paragraph essay and not start going off on a tangent about unicorns and ponies and cupcakes somewhere down the line. I know that I need to stick to those 3 thoughts. I've seen students have beautiful opinions and wonderful opinions, but they start getting off topic very fast because they don't have this organization element to their 5-paragraph essay. So that's why this thesis statement is so important. So now let's look at an example of what your final introductory paragraph could look like. Alright, so here's a final example of how to use that graphic organizer that I gave to you. So after I was done writing my essay, I went back and I started to write my lead or my hook so readers would know or be interested in what I was about to write. Now here is my thesis statement that we wrote earlier. Riverside should not implement school uniforms because students need to express themselves, uniforms are expensive to maintain, and they're uncomfortable. I take these 2 elements of my thesis statement, of my introductory paragraph, and I put them together to make one paragraph, and here's what it could look like. So notice how I indented, and it's one continuous paragraph. Marc Jacobs, one of the most successful and innovative designers of our time, once said, "To me, clothing is a form of self-expression. There are hints about who you are and what you wear." Society keeps evolving in greater achievements because of our continuous need to express ourselves. I believe clothing is much deeper than just a bunch of materials that form shirts and pants. Maybe clothes really do make the person. That's my lead. Here is my thesis statement. Write in the paragraph and how it works. Riverside Middle School is now debating whether or not to implement uniforms school-wide in an effort to prevent bullying issues. I believe Riverside should not implement school uniforms because students need to express themselves. Uniforms are expensive to maintain and they're uncomfortable. Also, don't worry students, Riverside really isn't debating that. We're just using this as an example. Alright, please let anyone know who is showing you this video if you have any questions. Thanks.